Alright, so hi everybody. We are back in the temple. It's getting to be a little bit later in the day, but I just finished the first tuning of the piano, tuning it down to 432, um, much more natural frequency. I'm really excited to share. I also felt a very powerful calling for a transmission ASAP for all of us in this time. With regards to connecting and entraining to the presence of the earth, the biofield of the earth, the resonance, the natural healing frequency. And what I mean by that, as many of you know, where we live here is a very powerful land. It is very untouched, and so as all these changes in the biomagnetic fields and the grids of the earth, all of these things are happening with the rising frequencies, with the photonic and plasmic light always flooding things in. There's this constant raising, this sort of rhythmic uplifting of the field of the earth. And here we can really feel it distinctly. There is nothing in the way. It's just very pure, very almost exaggerated, right? We can really tell here. And I have been really working with this, connecting down to the earth and those natural rhythms, that grounding to that healing frequency of the earth in the last week or two, because it has been serving me very indispensably. And I felt it would be important and powerful to share that with everybody so that we can all have this available in these times. What I have felt is happening as these frequencies are raising. There are those of us who are more on the spiritual inclination, if you will, and are doing daily practices and all kinds of things in the awareness that this is what's happening. And this is helpful, of course. Like they always say, get your feet on the earth, do some meditation, do some breathing, connect yourself to that natural frequency. Why? Because as these changes are happening, as this gigantic changeover energetically is happening this year, especially now that it's more accelerated than it's ever been before, it is very important to stay in tune with it, with this natural frequency, of which as well, the 432, I'll have to share that in just a moment, is a very natural frequency. It's very anchored into the how best can I put it, the naturalness. It's felt within your body, within the water of our body. But also, there are those of us who are then, loved ones and people who are close to us and people in the world, as we can send healing prayers out, it doesn't matter the distance or the time, right? There are those of us who are not as in tune with that. The fact that, there's these energetic changes, it's all woo-woo, there's all this stuff going on. And the funny thing is that this is affecting everybody, regardless of what path you're on or how you look at all of this. And so, in the times to come, and even up till now, those people have been in need of the most compassionate light and healing, actually, because their world is spinning just as tumultuously, and there's just as much turmoil, but there's not as much of a knowing of how to approach it. It's just like, I just feel really crazy. I just want to go kill somebody, And it's very, very disheartening to see that, of course, those of us who are aware of some of these things that are happening are having a difficult enough time as it is some days, right? But those close to us and those we know who are in the most need of those healing prayers, whether they be political leaders that are, fighting the good fight, or, really in the dark, or whichever way you want to look at it, or people in the world, everyone outside of us, as well as people that are in our most immediate vicinity. Sometimes they're in the most need of this. So with this one in particular, I encourage you to, if there's someone that comes to mind that could just use this as a healing frequency, regardless of their orientation or their spiritual outlook, if none of this resonates, just as a nice song to listen to, please do send it along, share it with them. I felt so strongly for this to get put out there somehow right now, because it has been helping me so much personally, because it's very easy to just become almost overwhelmed in these immense frequencies that are happening. Of course, then we always readjust to it, I always readjust to it, but it's as though if I haven't spent a lot of time just staying in entrainment to that natural frequency of the earth, the biofield, then it happens anyway, right? And it just kind of drags me along. And that's much more uncomfortable. And so I just really wanted to make this transmission available for all of us, to be able to assist us with that. It's more important now, I feel, than ever, and it will continue to serve us in the times to come, up until the end of the year and ever onward, right? Another note I wanted to share briefly before I get to it, is the healing frequency of 432. I've always encountered it. There's been so much talk. You can read so much about it, right? And there's so much argument, and it's all this mumbo jumbo. And well, okay, well then you listen to it for yourself, and you kind of go, well, that's much just flatter. It's much more natural, wonderful, right? Like it just resonates really beautifully. Funny enough, I haven't, as a musician, as somebody who has always shared musically, I have been more concerned with the flowing transmission of the phrases, the story, the heart song that they tell, as that is a very much, a healing transmission into itself. However, recently, since I'm now tuning this piano, it was severely out of tune, and I decided, okay, well, which way am I going to tune it? There are several sort of lock key frequency points. A444, higher up, it's actually above 440, puts the C at 528 and all these kinds of things. So the previous transmission that I did is actually locked into 444. Then I felt, since I was going to be tuning the piano and was deciding which way do I go, 432 or 444 or something else, I did a little experiment to where I tuned that same transmission, week 39, down to 432. So the video, unfortunately, I wasn't able to change the video. That's still 444. But all the MP3 downloads, everything else on there is 432. And I actually went ahead and I sent that along to patrons and supporters and just said, what do you feel from this version versus this version? And there were a number of different kinds of people. Some didn't have any idea about the 432, stuff. They haven't heard the talk. They haven't read the material on it. The harmonics of the universe, and seeing the shape in the water and all these things. And they just kind of said, I liked that version. It just like distinctly, not even hands down, was just a lot better. I don't know why. And there were some people who were much more in tune, who just said, it felt as though I felt the music resonating in my body, rather than right in my mind or in the ears of my mind, more of a mental, like, oh, this is nice, nice music. So that really struck me, because that was exactly what I had been experiencing. And also Angelica and I decided one day, okay, well, now the time has come. We're going to make a little experiment for ourselves in a very deeply attuned space. We just tuned in and played. I played and we listened. And it was also just like hands down. There was no argument about it. 432 was just so deeply resonating, as though, again, the water in our bodies was just receiving it so fully. So it is immensely healing, and I have decided to tune the piano now down to 432. I hope that this transmission finds you most deeply in your heart, that is felt very, very strongly in your body. Just allow it to resonate with you. Allow it to carry you, and again, as just another avenue in this naturalness, the frequency of 432, and whatever music will come through to share this, as best as I can intend with all my heart, for us all to just be that much more in connection with the very, very pure natural frequency of the earth. Whether you're in the city and you just can't quite get out there very much, or if you're just needing an extra dose of that in your meditation as you're going to sleep, I hope that this transmission can serve you well. And again, share it with anybody else who comes to mind, who is now in the most need of it more than ever. So I think that's all I've got. This was what I felt to bring through. So with all my heart, I decided, even though it's getting a little bit late, I would do so. Thank you all again. It is so good to be back in the temple and sharing from here in the piano. I will certainly tune it up again, and we'll keep on going with it. But for now, it is somewhat stabilized in that. So I am super excited. Let's see what shape the music takes. May the spirit of Pachamama be forever more and more with us, within our lives, within our very way of being. May we be that much more entrained to the powerful presence, that all life-giving biofield of Mother Earth, that which sustains us, will always bring us into wholeness if we just come back and entrain into it. Thank you all. I don't know if you heard, a bird just randomly started singing outside as I was playing. It was magnificent. So grateful. So sorry again for the later evening transmission, but it just felt too important. So thank you again, and let us know how you received this, and share with anybody whom you think might benefit. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.